say Yayagiri because it reads some I think an account says you are from northern Nigeria.
Yes, I am based in northern Nigeria. I was born here.
Okay. So how is it there?
Um, I mean, I've lived half of my life here. I went from the elementary school to primary school and now to university.
Mm,
I have experienced, yeah.
all
So
in
I
the
have
north?
experienced it all in the north. Yes,
Oh, really?
yes.
Mm, mm,
So I've experienced a whole first share of crisis, riots,
mm,
love, chaos, anguish, agony, pain. So all of these experiences has made me, has prompted me to write
mm,
a lot
mm,
because the only way I could process them is truly by writing. Writing is the only evidence, is the only thing that outlive a being.
mm,
The
mm,
only thing that outlives a being. Because even if you read back to history, the only way the colonizers get to have a hold of us is by them writing our own history.
mm,
Because back then we are not literate enough to write our own history. And that's why most of the finest literature, the finest books, the Egyptian, for instance, the Egyptian literature, we have it on stone because they know the importance of documenting history, of documenting stories, of documenting all of those experiences and making them whole. Because as writers, as poets, it's we are witnesses. We are witnesses to these things, and if we do not write them, it never existed. It's as good as it never existed.
mm.
So that is what has prompted my and inspired me into writing. Yes.
Okay. But you talked about colonizers and all those things. But are you talking of colonizers uh from abroad or colonizers within?
But I was just making reference to it.
Yeah, I know. Because you
Yeah.
see, the thing is that okay, my thinking is that when we look at it, then with the aid of what's it called? History and so on. I think, okay, for at least the average African country has been independent for 50 years.
Yes. Yes,
Aha.
more than some. Yeah.
No, I just said average. Now, I mean, what do you see? I mean, let's talk about the development of Africa and the African mind.
Okay, I was having this conversation with Abigail of late, and then she kept saying that she kept blaming the colonial era for all of the issues that we're having. And I made the reference to that we are not willing to change. Even though this mindset has been sold to us, this ideology has been sold to us, but we cannot sit with these ideas and change them from ourselves. I'm making reference to the colonizing era as well. We have people from within, like you said, who sold their people into slavery,
Oh,
right? So
sure.
yeah, so what do we say about those people? Maybe they were given something that's worth value. They were given something that's worth their price, and
Mm-hmm,
then they have to sell their sons, they sold their wives, sold their daughters into
mm-hmm.
slavery, right? So we can both look at it from outside and also from within. But like you said, an average African country is has been independent for 50 years and there has been no visible change so far, right? We many of us still blame the colonizers, the white people for intruding our land, which is not good, but we should have moved on from those stories. We should have moved on from those stories. We can't keep holding on to these stories and blaming why we are not actually fighting for the change that we want to see, right? Like
Yeah.
for instance, if I am Nigerian, right? If I went to the airport the other day, I was boarding a flight and then the officer, the custom officer, was searched when he saw my passport, and then he saw the green and white logo on it, and then he searched me differently than every other passenger boarding the flight. And something stick to me like, why am I different? Why am I different? Why should I be different? I am also human like every other person waiting in line.
Mm, mm.
So why will you treat me in
It's like
that
ethnic
manner?
profiling, right?
Exactly. Stereotypes, profiling.
Mm,
And why should you treat me in that manner? And it just occurred to me that some things can never change. Some things can never change.
mm,
And white and black will be seen till the end of time.
mm,
It will be seen to the end of time. Even from within. I know you know the history of the Nigerian Civil War 1967. So my dad was born during the war, and then my dad is like a living experience of the war. So
mm,
it tells stories a lot about the war and everything. So even down here, they still call the Igbo people Inyamiri. They still see the Igbo people differently. Even the war is about 58 years old. From 1967
mm,
to now, that's
mm.
58 years old.
It's the
And
mindset. It's
it's
the
still,
mindset.
yeah, it's the mindset. Yeah, it's the
Mm,
mindset that has been sold. So we are being sold that ideology. We are being sold those stories, and we hold on to them. Imagine a child being born into the world, and the mother decides to name that child Ojuku, for instance, and that child grew up facing labeling, facing stereotype,
mm-hmm.
facing all manner of abuse. And then that child goes on Google someday and typed his name on Google, and then he saw the goriness of his ancestors and what had happened and what had transpired in history. Do you think that child will be proud of that name? I really do not think so. I really do not think so. Will be proud of the name
Mm,
because of what has transpired in history.
mm. Now let's talk about your work. I was reading through your profile, and I think Holocaust is your last work.
Yes, Locust is my last work. Yes.
So I mean, uh, what informs you uh to write I mean the poems, right? It's not just one poem.
Yes, the poems, yes. No,
Okay,
it's a couple of poems, yes.
okay.
So Holocaust was inspired by the insecurity happening in Nigeria, northern part of Nigeria and the whole of Nigeria. For the past 3 years, we have the northern parts of Kaduna State. I'm based in Kaduna. I was born in Kaduna. So the northern parts of Kaduna State has experienced excessive insecurity and insurgency, where people were being killed, people were being kidnapped with no accounts, with nobody. Ransoms are being paid. Even after ransoms are paid, people are still killed, and the government couldn't do anything. I have witnessed firsthand a mass burial of people,
Mm,
about 85 people in a
mm,
day, and that continues all throughout the states. For
mm,
instance, the Woro massacre that happened in February, that they went into a village in broad daylight by exact 5 p.m. and they
mm,
claimed the
mm,
life of people. And the only way, so it became a burden, it became a ethic, it became excessive, and the only way I can truly process that trauma, process that grief, and give those souls rest is by at least writing about them, because that's the only way I can process it. And nobody celebrates those enormous loss of life. The government is doing nothing about it. The government has done nothing about it. The people just move on 2 days, and after a viral post or a
it's a
viral
normal
Twitter.
situation to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Down here it's normal. Down here
Mm,
it's normal. The people move on 2 days after. Even on 2 days after, the people have moved on and forgotten. And then another insurgency happened. The people keep moved. So, sorry, excuse me.
okay.
A minute, sorry.
No, no, go on.
Yeah. What's up?
Mm,
So sorry
Oh,
about
no,
that.
no, no, you don't. Go on.
So that was what inspired the book in
Mm,
general. So
mm,
as
mm.
as I was saying, the negligence of the people and the ignorance of the government has brought so much burden that
Wait,
all I can actually
oh,
do,
just a minute. Ignorance of the government.
yes,
Why?
because even when they claim to know, even when they claim, so the negligence of the government rather,
Okay.
even when they claim to know, they as much as possible trying to fabricate those stories and
Mm,
make them look untrue, and make them look it's just something that can be tamed, something that can be curtailed even when it's excessive.
mm, mm. But one thing that that's striking to me is the fact that even when they attack all those villages and so on, the government house is not attacked.
Exactly. It can't be attacked.
Hmm, hmm,
Exactly. Because there's much protection there. There's much protection there, and they really do not care. They really
hmm,
do not care. All they care about is winning the next election and campaigning for it, while the people suffer in their anguish and agony and pain and goriness. And so it's just keep progressing. It's like a long progression line, and people just turn their fears to it. And besides, the only best way I could process this, like I've said, is by actually writing about it, is by showing the activism
hmm,
of writing
hmm,
about these things
hmm.
and letting
It's like
people.
you've turned your frustration into your poems, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Hmm, hmm. Now, I read a quotation, I think from your blog. The purpose of literature is to turn blood into ink by T.S. Eliot. Can you expatiate on that?
And that was the old line from T.S. Eliot, and people use it a lot. Okay, I think what T.S. Eliot meant by writing that word was turning blood into ink. By, like I said, the purpose of a writer is to witness,
Hmm,
and that form of witness is by documenting. And even when the stories are gory, even when the stories are scary, the blood you're turning into ink is the
hmm,
stories. The blood you're turning into ink are the experiences. The blood you're
hmm,
turning into ink is everything that you can feel, everything that you can touch, and everything that you can equally sense.
hmm, hmm. Now, it is said that you are an oracle and you have this clairvoyance and all those things. Now, you see, I'm in a way fascinated by writers predicting what will happen. You understand? Because I believe that,
Yeah.
I think writers are one of the smartest groups. You understand? I mean, so what do you feel about that?
Hmm. I mean, we are all humans. We are also humans. We are not different from every other person. The only difference is our silence, our stillness, right? The only difference is when we experience something, we tend to document them, right? We are also humans. We face similar challenges like every other person.
Hmm.
But I think for myself, the only difference is that we can sit with our thoughts and pen them down exactly as we have. It's something to have an idea. It's another thing to be able to pen that idea down,
Mm,
right? They
mm,
are two different things. Yeah. I think what's distinguished like many of us is the ability to be able to pen those ideas down into paper. And believe me, it's no easy task, right? It's no easy task because for you to bring everything in your mind into paper, into a book, it's I think it's divinity. I think it's a rare gift, right? I mean, they are scientists, they are doctors, and those are specialists in their fields, right? And the ability to be able to do that is divine.
Does your interest in chess, I mean, come into it?
Yes, I love playing chess so much.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love playing chess
okay,
so much.
now, you see, chess is a game of war and not, I mean, in quotes. Now, does it really help you into predicting, you know, what will happen?
Yeah, it does in a kind of way. Even though chess is also as erratic as it is, you cannot predict your opponent's
Of
move.
course.
Even when you can, yeah, you don't know what is going to happen in the next five moves, the next 10 moves. So some games finish in 5 moves, some game finishes in 12 moves, and so on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I think chess has helped my mind in positioning.
mm,
Yeah, in positioning. Like a very good chess player knows where to position their pieces.
mm,
A very
mm,
good chess player knows how and where to position their pieces. And that positioning as as in a very large extent helped my mind, right? Even in the midst of tremendous storm, I can still keep still and position my mind in how I want it to be,
mm,
in what I want to write. I might be in my deepest silence, but I'm thinking about how to finish that essay. I'm thinking about how to finish that story. I'm thinking about how
mm,
to complete that poem because every poem is a blade. Every poem should be a blade because the first and closing line should be a blade. A poem is a blade, a poem is a prayer, but a poem is more of a blade than a prayer. So every poem should be a blade. When someone reads your work, they should like, this cuts me so deep. And I think I've tried to some extent to put my poems in that position and to
okay.
make them look like that. Yes.
Now, what is your involvement with the people that have what's it called? Hearing challenges and so on.
Okay, I did a course. I did a course in Kaduna University for a diploma course that it's the course is about hearing impaired people with disability and resuscitating them and making them find their place in the society.
Mm,
And there was a couple of hearing impaired people in the department, in the faculty, and I had interest because their biggest challenge is communicating to the society. Like for instance, when they want to purchase a thing, they couldn't communicate properly. They will have to write on pen
mm,
and paper, which
mm,
takes longer time and it's tedious and uninteresting for people to communicate to them. And so I picked up sign language as a means of aiding communication between
mm,
hearing impaired and people who are not hearing impaired. And so far, I I try to find ways in which I can link the chess and help hearing impaired people. And
mm,
then, fortunately enough, there was a school here in Kaduna State of hearing impaired kids. So we go there twice a month to teach them how to play chess, and it has really been a growing program. Even though we're still aiming for greater heights and greater places. So we go there and teach them how to play chess twice every month, and it has been flourishing so far, I would say.
great, great. Now let's talk about your other books. I'm sure
Okay.
I mean, the, Holocaust is not your only book, right?
Holocaust is my second. The volume of
Okay,
Constant Scream
okay.
is my
Which is the
first
first?
chapbook. The
Sorry.
volume of Constant Screams. The volume of Constant Screams
Okay,
is
okay,
the
okay.
first is the first chapbook. That
Mm,
like I mentioned, right? I mentioned about the history of Biafra. And the volume of Constant Screams is a collection of poems centered on the history of Biafra,
mm,
trying to explain the genocide, trying to give immense gratitude to people who had died, and
mm,
trying to show relevance in that war in the society. For instance, in Nigeria, there is no documentation of the Nigerian civil war in the history of Nigeria. In fact, the government did not want anybody to know. I mean, you won't find a curriculum for pupils in school where they teach the war, or where they teach where it's been embedded in the history. The government wants it gone and gone for good. But I
Mm,
think that is one part of Nigerian's history that make it still standing, right? I think that is one part of Nigerian history that people should talk about more often. But people do not want to talk about it. People do not want to talk about the growing. People don't want to hear about it. People do not want to read about it. I think it's the most basic history, the most important history in Nigeria, and
mm,
people really do not show interest about it. And that gives me a lot of worry and a lot of trouble that we are going to raise a generation of children, of kids who do not know their history and who do not know what happened, what transpired. I was asking my niece, the first prime minister of Nigeria, and she looked at me in greatest in
mm,
greatest report. She never knew who the first prime minister of Nigeria. I'm like, okay, what are they teaching you guys in school?
mm,
What are they teaching you guys in school if you don't know who the first prime minister of Nigeria was? And
mm,
these are the issues. These are the issues. We can't know who we are if we do not know our history. We
mm.
can't know who we are. We can't be a full potential of
But
ourselves if we do
no,
not know
no.
our
I mean,
history.
they will teach them that Mongo Park discovered the River Niger. You know.
I mean, that is part of the myth. That is part of the lie
Mm,
that they included in the history for the favoritism of the
mm,
British, the white people, and all of that. But that that beside I think we as a people should be more immense with our history,
mm,
because it's the only way we can discover ourselves. It is the only way forward. Like someone said, the only way forward is backward, and and that
mm,
quote that
mm,
quote really makes
mm. No, no,
sense.
no, no. I can see your point.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only forward is
yeah,
backward, right?
yeah. The only way
Mm,
forward is backward. Yes, yes, yes,
mm,
yes.
mm.
So
I love that. Mm, mm. Now, uh, looking back. I know you were not around during the Civil War and all those things, but looking back,
no, I
I
wasn't
mean,
I was I wasn't born then. Yeah.
reading history and so on. Do you think the incidents leading to the Civil War ought to have happened?
I think it could be avoided. I
Hmm.
think it could be avoided, right?
Hmm.
Ego played a whole lot of parts during for Ojuku's side. And if you read through, both Ojuku and Yakubu Gawan could have sorted the war out, and this couldn't have happened at all.
Hmm.
But Yakubu Gawan was backed by a profiling of people, like mostly from the north, who really wants to see the end of it, who really wants the
Hmm.
war to happen. If you could remember, I can't remember his name, but there was a general then in Ghana who invited both Ojuku and General Gawan to Ghana
Hmm.
to hold a meeting, because
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
the war was already looming by then. The war was already looming, and people did not want it to happen. But there is a particular set of people who are backing Gawan, and they really
Hmm.
want to see the end of it. They want the annihilation of the Igbo people, right? So they were invited to Ghana, both of them, and they agreed. Terms were agreed. Terms were agreed, and only to Ojukwu to go back to his camp, and Gawan passed a different information from what was agreed back in
Hmm.
Ghana. And that was where it all began. That was where it all began. I think greed played a lot of parts. Greed and ego played a lot of parts as well. And it could have been avoided, honestly. It could have been avoided. And even at the end, Ojukwu regretted it. He said it himself. He regretted it. And he fled he fled from camp when everything became messy, when everything was out of hand. He had to leave, and he wasn't found for days, and until he was killed, and so on.
Okay, now let's divert. Nigeria is having general elections 2027, right?
Yes.
Now, And I'm sure the atmosphere is full of politics now. Uh,
Exactly.
what do you think? I mean, just a
Honestly,
general statement.
I have lost I have lost interest in Nigerian politics. But like my friend will always say that we cannot make a change from outside. We cannot make a change if we are not inside, right? There
Now,
has been a lot
I'm
of
sorry, I'm sorry.
movement.
So you have developed the kind of apathy.
Exactly.
Now,
Political apathy.
if you that is learned now develops uh, an apathy, then uh, what are you going to tell all those people out there?
Yeah, so I'm trying to buttress my point, right? But recently, I have picked interest in it. My friend and I once bought a membership a membership card for ATC. We bought it February,
Mm,
and we are trying to, no matter the odds, no matter the disappointment, we are trying to immerse ourselves with politics, and because that's where the change is being done, that's where the
mm,
decisions are being made,
mm-hmm,
and we cannot do it outside if we are not in it. And so we raised the campaign, I think March, for people to get their PVC, for people to get their PVC, and a couple of people from the community came out. And so far, I think in my community there are some people who had gotten their PVC and they are ready to vote. And we also send the an appeal was also sent to the government for the extension of the closure for the permanent voters card. And so far so good. I think people are more concerned about change, and people are beginning to notice and see that
mm.
we cannot make change if we keep sitting on the fence.
Now let's look at the state of the world generally. It is not hidden the fact that uh, we are much more interested in wars than
The
satisfying
good.
those who are hungry. And it is not hidden that why billions are being or even trillions are being spent on wars, only a minute fraction of that is needed to feed the hungry. So can we juxtapose it?
Like I said, greed is one factor. Greed is one big factor that plays a very big role in Nigeria politics, for instance, because everybody wants to satisfy themselves. Everybody's looking at themselves, and they are not looking out for the betterment of the country at
Mm,
large. Right? So everybody up there is looking out for themselves. I mean, a lot of billions were sorted out for the Nigerian military. A lot of millions, a lot of billions has gone into ammunitions, a lot of millions has gone into their car purchase, their security purchase, and
mm,
everything. But insecurity is still present, very as never before in Nigeria. If you want to go on a very long trip, you have to like think and pray to God for God to sustain you and
mm.
bring you back home, because it's not supposed to be so. I used to ask people in America, they do not pray before they go on a long journey. They just up on the road and go. So why do we have to pray and pray to God for God to safeguard us and keep us on in our country, something that we are citizens of this country?
Now let's
So why
use
do we have to do that?
let's use the remaining time to promote your book. Do you have copies there?
Yes, I do. I do have
Oh, great.
copies.
Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, I do have copies. Yeah.
Please, let's just uh uh your name. Your name.
Henry Opeyemi.
Okay.
Henry
Okay.
Opeyemi.
Okay. Just show it to the camera. Your book. Okay. Okay. Now, all right. Let's see the other one. Or it's sold out.
It's sold out. I don't have the other copy here.
Okay, okay, no problem, no problem. I mean, it's been nice talking to you, and you see, the thing is that I mean, you see, when I see bright minds, I just try to, I mean, to feature them and so on because yeah, I always say that the slave master and the slave will not tell the same story of that incident. So
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
see, the more we tell our own stories, the better for us. By the way, yeah, it reminds me of one thing. Uh, I think politicians normally go to Chatham House, you know, for whatever reason, and you intend to sell out the O2 Arena.
Yes.
I mean, why are you not intending to sell out the National Stadium or the Abuja Stadium?
Okay, okay. I think I can answer your question. Okay, poetry is one thing that people do not know. I mean, people try to sideline. People prefer to read a novel than to read a chapbook or a full collection. People love stories. People do not recognize poetry that much, even though
That's
poetry
true.
is
Yeah,
one
that's true.
poetry is one like burning furnace in my country. There
Mm,
are a lot of great writers in my country, a lot of great writers, a lot, and some are still coming, some are still learning the craft of writing. And imagine, imagine. Okay, there's this and a couple of their books was longlisted for the prize, and the prize is I think the prize is about the prize, if anybody wins the prize, it's about $100,000. I can't really remember the prize,
okay,
but
okay.
it's big money. And so that is one measure at which people can appreciate and recognize poetry.
Mm,
And the O2 Arena is a global stage. The O2 Arena
mm.
is a global stage, bringing poetry globally.
I was expecting to mention uh the scarcity of libraries, even in the schools. I don't know if it has changed now because I was in teaching in Ogun State, and as at that time